We're going to be talking about radon mitigation for the home builder. My name is Brent. I'm with Professional Discount Supply in Colorado Springs, Colorado. We're a distributor of all things Fantech and radon related.
My name is Matt Cook. I'm with the Elite Radon team. I'm a radon mitigator and system designer in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah. So we're going to tell you guys how you can plan ahead and build better homes, healthier homes for your customers. So first things first, what is radon? Radon is an element on the periodic table. It is a radioactive decay product, part of the uranium-238 breakdown chain. So I've always wondered why they don't call it the uranium industry. A lot more people know what that is and have the proper respect and fear for that product, but alas, I wasn't around when we settled on radon. But it is the leading cause of lung cancer among non-smokers in the United States. Over 22,000 deaths a year attributed to it. It is a long-term health effect. So the longer you live with high radon levels, the higher your risk goes up of developing stage 4 lung cancer. 22,000 deaths a year, which is about twice as many as drunk driving.
So when we look at radon, radon is naturally occurring. Every house has some level of radon. When we talk to people about radon, almost inevitably what we hear is, my house doesn't have radon. And that's not true. Every house has radon. It's just a matter of how much. And a matter of the amount that's there is really a cause for concern.
Yeah.
So testing for homes was not very common.
Yeah, testing for radon wasn't really commonplace until the 90s. And radon levels have been steadily increasing. The reason being because you guys build such great homes. They're really energy efficient. And energy efficient homes can trap a lot of things. A lot of people are familiar with VOCs, carbon dioxide, bad things, but one of those other bad things is radon gas, unfortunately.
We know, Brent, the energy efficient and energy efficient means radon inefficient.
Yeah.
So when we have houses that were leaky and lots of energy loss, we also have lots of radon loss, not as much cause for concern.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of the time, the reason you don't know about radon, it's not your fault. Your parents probably never tested for radon. Federal and state regulations are decades behind, and it's really something you have to be proactive about. There's a lot of things in this world we got to just watch out for ourselves. We talked a little bit about this. The only way to know how much radon you have is to test. It's incredibly inexpensive to test. If you go back home and call up your county health department, you can almost certainly get a free test kit. If they won't give one to you, I have them for $15. I'll even give you a discount. Mention this code and give you $5 off. I just want you to test.
Well, so Brian,
yeah.
when we talk about radon, everyone is thinking that radon is a problem in a house. And radon's not a problem in a house. Radon is completely natural. The levels in your house aren't. The only reason the radon is there is because there's a naturally occurring pressure differential between the soil and the house. As we build houses, we control all 5 sides of the box, but we don't control the interface between house and soil. And the house, because it has lower pressure, it wants to draw the radon in. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, what do we say in the industry, guys? Your house sucks. I mean, you guys build great homes, but they suck. They really suck a lot of radon up from the soil.
Well, we know what to do about that, don't we?
Exactly, here we go.
So when we build a house, you're going to have temperature differentials, and those temperature differentials cause pressures throughout the house. Somewhere in the house is a neutral pressure plane. On that plane, everything above it, air is exfiltrating, and below it, air is infiltrating. So that low pressure that's in the house compared to the soil has high pressure, it draws the radon in. So what do we want to do? We want to change why the radon's coming in. Most people think the system is sucking radon out, and it's not doing that. It's stopping it from coming in. So what do? We put a system in, it draws air out from under the slab, not to suck the radon out, but to stop it from coming in by creating and maintaining a lower pressure under the slab than above it.
Yeah, just like moisture.
Oh, systems help wonderfully for moisture too. I mean, really, what we're doing is roughing in a soil gas system. We're not putting in a passive system. We're roughing in a system, so if we need to, we can control that interface, and it'll take care of any gases in the soil.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to talk about here. Most of you are probably familiar with post-construction mitigation because this is our first time at the show. Not a lot of people have been planning ahead and building a house pre-plumbed for radon, really. So most people are doing active soil depressurization. You're digging out a suction pit in your basement, and you're giving a safe passage for that radon gas, or you're covering up a crawl space. Fantech's developed some tools. They're a leader in the inline fan industry. They created the first inline fan years and years ago, and now they've created one of the best tools for diagnosing what size fan you need for a radon system. It's an incredible tool that can save you on callbacks. and make sure that you're not oversizing or undersizing the fan. But if you have to build a system after construction, these are Colorado numbers, but they're relatively safe to extrapolate over the nation. It's about $1,200 to design a radon system. It's not that expensive, but you can save that by planning ahead.
You know, Brent, one of the other problems with doing it after the fact is you haven't planned for it, so it's got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So you either need to find a way to go through the house, punch another hole in the roof, or put it on the outside. So you just built this big, beautiful house, and now on the outside you have a pipe and fan.
Yeah. A loud fan, a lot of times, unfortunately, it's better than lung cancer, but it ruins barbecues. You can check one out on the front here.
Well, you know why they
fun.
would be loud? You didn't design it in.
Exactly. You didn't design it, and you have to use a more powerful, stronger fan.
So what do they need to do, Brent?
They need to pre-plumb. They need to build what we call radon-ready new construction. So there's several ways to do this, but basically you're creating the path for the air to flow before you even build the house. Nobody here would build an entire house, install the toilets, and then go, oops, I forgot to put in the plumbing for that. Sorry. That's how we're going to look at radon in 15 years, folks. We're going to say, why in the heck did we do it that way? There's no reason for that.
Well, the most important part is what's under the slab. If you don't have that, the pipe that's going up is not doing anything. It's not connected to what it needs to be. It would be like if you put a sprinkler system in a house and didn't connect it to the water supply, right? You've got the pipes, we have a sprinkler system, we have a fire system, but it's not connected. So you gotta do what's under the slab first. Most important part of the whole thing.
Ensure that the contractors you're working with are educated, because we have seen some systems where people just think it's as simple as putting a pipe down beforehand, and that's not gonna do the job. You need proper pressure field extension.
You mean it's just not a pipe that goes in? If you have a pipe, it's not a radon system?
Yeah, that's not really going to work for you.
It's just a piece of a radon system.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's a couple different ways to do radon-ready new construction. What you may have seen before is perforated pipe that goes around the perimeter. So you take a 3-inch perforated pipe, you trench it out in 4 inches of gravel, and then you lay a vapor barrier over the top, and that way you can draw air from around the entire home.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. Yeah. There is an easier way. You can use what's called soil gas mat. It's a low-profile mat. It's written into some international standards, including the ASTM 1465. But basically, it's a low-profile vapor mat. We call it soil gas mat because you literally lay it directly on the soil around the perimeter, and you can pour concrete directly over the top. You don't need a trench, you don't need gravel fill, and you don't need any sort of barrier. None of that's going to make it ineffective. If that's required in your municipality or your state, you can do that. But if not, why waste time and money?
So it sounds like it might be cost-effective as well as easy.
Yeah, cost-effective, especially on the labor side. Not only with materials, but you can save a quarter of the time, 3/4 of the time.
Cheap and easy is good.
Exactly. Yeah, and make sure you install an outlet in the attic where you plan on placing the fan, or a low voltage wire, so that if you do have high radon levels, once you test, because again, you never know the radon levels until you test, until the home is built. You don't know the dynamics, the pressure dynamics of that home and the soil until it's built. But if you have high radon levels, it's as simple as installing like a Fantech RN1 or a Fantech RN2, one of the low watt models.
Well, one of the problems I've had is when I go to a house that has a system roughed in, it has the pipe, and they might have even done what's under the slab correctly, but where the pipe comes up into the attic, there's not even any room to put the fan.
Yeah.
So if you can't put a fan on it, once again, it's not a good system.
Yeah. Yeah, so don't forget that crucial piece of powering the fan. So takeaways are, it's not your guys' fault that you might not have heard about radon. It's relatively new. It's a newer phenomenon. Sure, it's been around since the dawn of time, but we didn't know about it for a long time, and we haven't been building houses the correct way. But that's all going to change now that you guys are here.
Well, one other thing. I often hear people go, well, is the radon going to go away? And the thing is, it is. It comes from radium. Radium is got a half-life of 12,000 years. So 12,000 years from now, your house is going to have half the level of radon.
Yeah,
if you wait it out,
years. It'll be fine. So, yeah, and then make sure in a lot of states as well, doing it yourself. If you're doing post-construction mitigation or talking to friends or family that already have homes built, make sure they go with a licensed mitigator. There's not a lot of licensing and regulation all across the states. So, you could just spray paint radon on the side of your van and call yourself a mitigator. Make sure you're going with somebody that knows what they're doing.
You mean you don't poke a hole in the soil and put a fan on and hope it works?
Poke and hope? Yeah,
poke and hope.
That's a good way to do it.
No.
Yeah, so thank you guys very much. Thanks for listening. What questions?